Hello everyone. Today I will tell you a story. The story is titled, The Cat and the Amazing Hide-and-Seek Moments. Please like and subscribe to my channel if you appreciate me. You can skip this if you don't like this video. Thank you very much. The story begins as follows. Every day with Whiskers, Lily's mischievous little tabby cat, was an adventure. But there was one thing Whiskers loved more than anything else, playing hide-and-seek. It had become his favorite game, and every time Lily walked through the door, she never knew what surprise he would have in store. This particular morning, she was greeted by a perfectly still house. Too still, in fact. It was like everything was in its place, and the house seemed quieter than usual. But Lily knew better. There was no way Whiskers could resist the urge to play. She set down her bag and called out, "Whiskers? Where are you, little troublemaker?" A soft rustling came from under the couch. Lily grinned. She knew exactly what was happening. Whiskers had already found his first hiding spot. With a smirk, Lily knelt down and peeked underneath. Sure enough, a pair of gleaming green eyes blinked back at her from the shadows. "You can't hide from me that easily, buddy," Lily teased. But Whiskers wasn't fazed. He let out a playful meow, and before Lily could react, he darted out from under the couch and scurried into the kitchen. Lily, quick on her feet, followed him, smiling at how fast and clever he was. Whiskers' favorite hiding spots weren't just under furniture. They could be in the most unexpected places. As she rounded the corner to the kitchen, Lily saw him slip into a small space behind the refrigerator. "Not again," Lily laughed, bending down to peer into the narrow gap. Whiskers' little face stared up at her, his tail twitching with excitement. He was practically daring her to find him, and Lily was more than happy to accept the challenge. She stood up, pretending to walk away. Whiskers, thinking she had given up, crawled out from behind the fridge, only to find Lily waiting with her arms wide open. "Gotcha!" she exclaimed, scooping him up into her arms. Whiskers meowed happily and licked her cheek in what could only be described as a victory celebration. The game had just begun, and Lily knew it would be one of those days filled with laughter and love. A few hours later, as the sun began to set and the golden light filtered through the windows, Whiskers decided to take the game to the next level. Lily had been reading her book on the couch when she noticed that the room had grown unusually quiet. A little too quiet for Whiskers, who was usually causing some kind of commotion. She looked around the room and saw no sign of him. "Whiskers," she called, standing up and glancing under the coffee table and behind the curtains. No answer. A slight smile tugged at her lips. She knew Whiskers was up to something big. Just then, she heard a soft thud from behind the bookshelf. Lily raised an eyebrow, suspicious. Whiskers had always been clever when it came to finding new hiding places, but the bookshelf, that was a new one. Lily approached slowly, trying to keep her steps quiet, as if she were the one sneaking up on him. She crouched down beside the bookshelf and peered between the books. Nothing. It was empty, except for a few old novels and a couple of picture frames. She frowned, puzzled. Where could he have gone? Then, out of the corner of her eye, she saw a small tail flicker just behind the bookshelf. With a grin, Lily pulled the bottom shelf out slightly, and there he was, Whiskers, wedged comfortably between the shelves, his little paws tucked under his body and his eyes gleaming with mischief. It was the perfect hiding spot, and Whiskers was clearly pleased with his cleverness. "You little trickster," Lily whispered, gently pulling him out from his hidey hole. Whiskers squirmed playfully, trying to wiggle back to his secret spot, but Lily wouldn't let him escape. "I'll have to be sneakier next time," she said, holding him close. Whiskers purred contentedly in her arms, pleased with himself. Later that evening, after dinner, Lily decided it was time to play her favorite version of hide-and-seek, the ultimate challenge. She would hide, and Whiskers had to find her. She knew this was his chance to prove himself as the reigning champion of the game. Lily ran upstairs and quickly hid behind the bathroom door, making sure Whiskers couldn't see her as she tiptoed inside. She crouched low, trying her best to stay as still as possible. She had to admit, she was a little nervous. Whiskers had become quite the expert at this game, and she wasn't sure how long she could stay hidden. A few moments later, she heard a soft thud followed by the sound of little paws padding up the stairs. Whiskers was on the hunt. He sniffed the air and wandered into the hallway, his little tail held high with determination. Lily could hear him sniffing around, and her heart skipped a beat. She was starting to feel like she might lose this round. Then, The unmistakable sound of Whiskers' tiny meow echoed outside the bathroom door. He had found her, but instead of just pushing the door open, he sat down and stared at the crack beneath it. He was waiting for the right moment. Lily giggled quietly, knowing what was coming next. Sure enough, after a few seconds, the door creaked open, and there stood Whiskers, his green eyes wide with triumph. He had won. Again. "You are the master of hide-and-seek," Lily admitted, laughing as she scooped him up and kissed his head. "But don't get too cocky. I'll win next time." As the night wore on, Lily couldn't help but smile. Whiskers had truly mastered the art of hide-and-seek, but it wasn't just the game that made it so special. It was the joy, the love, and the bond they shared in each playful moment. Every day with Whiskers was an adventure, and Lily wouldn't have it any other way. And so, their game continued, filled with laughter, joy, and endless moments of fun.